So we have Caleb Williams stats for the night. Caleb Williams actually win. He had about 19 completions on 30 attempts. It's not too bad. We want a little bit better than that. Of course, sometimes you don't necessarily get that when you're kind of working from behind all the time. You would expect for him to sling it everywhere, but he's also an efficient quarterback. Doesn't want to do anything stupid, doesn't want to just throw it out there. So regardless of how much we want him to just throw it, he won't. And he also had 2 touchdowns with 1 interception. A lot of times he was trusting his wide receivers to actually execute and do exactly what they were paid to do and meant to do. And sometimes even the coaches said, and if you look at the all 22 tape, the wide receivers aren't getting, tight ends aren't getting there. Expects for people to get there. So when he sees 1, 2, oh, you're not there. All right, 3, 4. It's not all the time, but you definitely see it out there. He's missing some of his gimme shots, but realistically, he's trying to do more of the game plan itself. He doesn't want to go for the gimme. Not everybody wants to go for the gimme, but sad to say, we need to go for the gimme a little bit more to go ahead and secure that dub. As you can tell, all these other teams out here, they haven't even scored 21 points. A lot of teams didn't score 21 points this weekend and still got dubs or just took L's. So you're seeing that scoring in general is definitely harder in this day and age with football right now. And those penalties, they've been killing a lot of drives. We had a good, I believe in a few games, we had about, one game we had about 12 flags. About 4 of those flags were like false starts, giving up about a good 127 yards, give or take. And if you think about 127 yards, that's about a good 2 touchdowns. And depending on your position in the field, that's about 3 touchdowns. So if we're giving up all of that in penalties, just yardage alone, but then we're not able to produce, come on now, offensive line. Come on now. Take away all these penalties. Take them all away. If we have a clean game on the offensive line, meaning no penalties whatsoever, and they're giving Caleb some time, I'm really looking forward to seeing what type of game that we're going to have at that point. Period, point blank, it should be a very good game. The offensive line has no defenses respecting them whatsoever. They're all just bullying. Doubles, swims, shifts. I'm seeing a lot of traps too. Like at the end of the day, they're doing a lot of stunts where the player is kind of making a little hesitant. He's getting locked up by one. Boom! I go around his backside, right shoulder, left shoulder, so on and so. It's just crazy how the Bears are just getting did in right now. And sad to say, one of our rookies, not rookies now, he's not even a rookie anymore, but Darnell Wright, really thought he was going to do something, and he got ate up on that line big time, and that's something that we definitely got to make sure we take care of. It was very bad with the false starts, and something that we really got to make sure that we can take care of as soon as possible. And Caleb sometimes stares down his wide receivers a bit too much, and that's something that I understand. He's trying to manipulate the defense, move the defense around to make sure that they understand where he is and where he isn't trying to go, and he's trying to manipulate it. So I get that's what he has to do with his eyes, but sad to say, a lot of times than not, I see Caleb going to the side of the field that he's initially looking to. So I would hope that he uses his cadence and things a lot better going against the Dallas Cowboys, given the Dallas Cowboys have one of the best defenses out here when it comes down to them executing at times. But right now, they are not doing well. Matt Eberflus has definitely shown exactly why he is not the Bears coach anymore. That is not it. Olin Kreutz, on a side note, I can go ahead and say this. Olin Kreutz, I see that he's using ChatGPT for a lot of his arguments because I know that he sponsors with them or he says something about them all the time. So he's making sure to put them out there as, just a tool that he uses. But Olin Kreutz has been one to, stress things about Caleb Williams. And as of recently, he made sure to finally say it. What is up with this line? What is up with this defense? So on and so forth. So that right there, I definitely congratulate Olin Kreutz finally coming out there and saying it, because at the end of the day, it was a lot of Caleb needs to be more communicative with his line. Caleb needs to do this. Caleb needs to tell those guys what he wants. And guess what? They're just not executing in their job. And that was my whole point. They're not executing in their job. And I said everyone should get their fair shine and fair, gripes. So at the end of the day, it just feels like when you're trying to make a point out here as a person like Olin Kreutz, kind of like, Ryan Clark and even Chris Canty right now, it feels like you're just trying to keep yourself popular by saying something negative without clearly looking at the clear positives. Caleb Williams is the best quarterback the Chicago Bears have ever had at this point as a rookie, statistically. And yet we want to bash him and think anything wrong. It can't be him. It just can't. Period, point blank. It just can't. It just can't. You get what I'm saying? And moving on, we have coaching in the game plan. The coaching and game plan overall, I understand. We must all understand. We have a rookie head coach, okay? Ben Johnson, he was a little overwhelmed. I'm not even going to lie. It looks like he was overwhelmed in that Detroit game, he had, the fans giving him, a lot of static. And then also Detroit kind of doing what they do, going for it on fourth and so on and so forth. So, it was kind of a thing where he thought that we were going to execute more, we were going to do more, and we didn't. But also looking at that game plan, come on, Ben Johnson, come on, coach. What was that? We got very conservative after a certain point and very quickly, might I add. I will admit the first, few 15 scripted plays definitely looks beautiful from Caleb Williams. But one thing I notice a lot of you experts out here aren't, or anyone isn't remembering that Caleb Williams in his first year never did that. Never. Remember that. He never did the first 15. They never scripted the first 15. Waldron didn't do that. They didn't do that. Ever. So think about that. He actually did it here and executes it well. Now he has to move to the next part. This is Caleb Williams' rookie year, people. Come on. The incompetence that we had with that last coaching staff was ridiculous, people. Think about it. He had 3 OCs, 3 head coaches in his rookie year. And yet, we're not looking at this with the proper glasses. You know what I'm saying? We got to make sure that we look at it properly. The offense came out flat after halftime. The first play was another screen. The first play was a screen. I don't want to see the screens if it's not in a perfectly called situation where you're actually trying to, throw them off and make them look to one side of the field to then the next play kind of, whips their head to the other side of the field. So they're kind of doing like this and, their bodies, more swayed to go, towards the previous side of the field that you were just thrown to, then you could throw to the other side, that type of thing. Football, that's how you do it, right? So that's what I'm looking forward to. Less screens. I want more game plan. It really looks like every other team actually has a game plan of having crosses around, help routes. It almost looks like they have a wide receiver spying for the quarterback for some of these teams because they always have one of their top or the slot wide receivers. Someone's always there to help. Now, we got the big boys, Colston Loveland and Cole Kmet, both of the Coles. We got to get them involved. And Ben Johnson said that's something that we're definitely going to do, so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that. That's all within the game plan to get them involved. They got to be placed in the proper places that they're not basically decoys. They're not basically just taking up space. So hopefully we see a lot more of that when it comes down to it for the game tomorrow. His plays feel very scripted. It doesn't seem like he's actually being reactive to things. So what I mean by that is it looks like when Declan Doyle is up there talking back down to Ben Johnson about the plays, it looks like Declan Doyle is not necessarily keeping up with what's actually happening. So him talking back and forth with with Ben Johnson about what plays are happening, they're not connecting. You know what I'm saying? So he's not seeing the field properly. So then he's not telling Ben the field properly. So then Ben can't reiterate the plays properly back to him, and then it won't get back to Caleb. You get what I'm saying? So it's one of those situations where since the OC up top isn't looking at it properly and the coach is the one that's actually calling the plays, the coach doesn't get that connection properly, so the quarterback doesn't actually get the play properly. And then that also goes with an example that Ben Johnson himself has also said. He said, hey, well, look, yeah, it's on me a couple of those plays. It's just miscommunication. I wasn't getting the play in there quick enough, so on and so forth. It's because of that communication. They got to be quicker, and they got to get to things. So I'm hoping that they eventually get this going. Or, you know what? Just script the whole game. Script the whole game. Script it. Just script it. We're going to do this regardless. 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 And then pick and choose. See what you have to do. Pick your poison. You never know, but we have to figure something out when it comes down to this offense overall. There was too much under center for me personally. I understand you need the under center for play action and stuff like that, but I would love to see a lot more shotgun. Please, let me see more shotgun and rollouts. That fits Caleb's game. Let me see that. Let me see that. That's what he was doing. We said we were going to make the game around Caleb. Why don't we do that? Why are we still trying to have him sit in his pocket? What is up with the fact that we're not learning to make it around Caleb? We keep talking about it's a Caleb team, but we're not making it for Caleb, give him everything that he had in college and do it again. You know what I'm saying? Just on a professional level. Now I get it. I get it. We want to implement more. So cool. I get it. But let's try to make sure we find some type of progress. We need to get something going, because if we don't get something going, it's going to make a situation where we're kind of just left out there. And when you're left out there, you kind of have a defense that's missing Jalen Johnson once again, Kyler Gordon. You got Edwards missing. You got Grady out there, but Grady is out there for the game tomorrow. So as far as we know today, at 7 o'clock in the morning, Grady is going to be there. So we'll see after the practice today exactly what happens with that from coach, what they say on that. I'll have a video. I'll add that to my reaction on, what happens, in that situation. But yeah, they were a big loss, man. When we were missing our secondary was a huge loss. And that's something that we definitely got to make sure that we try to take care of at this point, because having a secondary that weak, giving up 52 points, can't ever happen again, man. Can't ever happen again. But guess what? How I feel is how I've always felt about the Lions, okay? Period, point blank. The Lions, they can score as much as they want on us, because those will all be points that they wish they scored on someone else that was better than us at the time, and then they won't make it. Bear down. That's how you keep a rivalry going. You know what I'm saying? No, I'll never see them go to the mountaintop, but I'd love to, poke at them a little bit. But that was very bad on Dennis Allen. He really needs to make sure that our defense got it, man. Just seriously, all jokes aside, Dennis Allen needs to make sure that we're the actual Bears defense, that we can lock them down and we can hold them down and do something. This man-to-man defense is not working. Then we have to instantly go to zone because everybody's hurt. What was the point of implementing a new defense? So now you see we have a new defense that's getting implemented with Dennis Allen. New offense being implemented with Declan Doyle and Ben Johnson. Only thing that's regular and the same is the special teams. And speaking of special teams, Santos was the reason why we lost 3 points the first game. 3 points. This game, momentum loss. When you miss, you lose all momentum. And that's what happened. You can see it in the team. We just lose. Oh, man, we fought all the way to get down there. Bro, come on, man. Like, that's how they felt, right? So, hopefully we get all of that taken care of, because it seems like with issues that are glaring like that, it becomes even more of a glaring issue. You have players like, it's hard to even say this man's name, but I understand it's hard for him out there too. Stevenson. Tyreek Stevenson has been trying his heart out to do anything out there. I can't even say he's locking down anything. He can't lock down nothing. They were doing him in. But guess what? We can't let him go, people. We got to keep him. We need him right now, okay? We can't even bench him because we need him out there to be productive. So at the end of the day, all we need to do is make sure that as Bears fans, we're working with some positive reinforcement here, okay? Positive reinforcement goes a long way. And we really got to hope that Tyreek Stevenson catches on and, becomes a player that we can, man, we were hoping would work out at one point, So I'm looking forward to him hopefully working out so that we can finally get to a point of being a better team, But a lot of times that just doesn't work because it just doesn't coordinate. Meaning, you got Stevenson you got Stevenson trailing wide receivers all the time. Then you got number 49, Edmonds. He can't tackle for nothing. I need this dude to tackle. I understand he's batting down passes with his his hands and stuff. I need you to tackle, bro. He is slipping off of tackles left and right. And then when he is tackling, they're dragging him for an extra 2 to 3 yards. I'm like, dude, what is happening here? We really need Edwards out there, at the linebacking core. But you guess what? I said, but you guess what? Sorry. Anyway. But the thing is, one very bright side that I'm looking forward to continuing to see out there is Noah Sewell. Now, I will say this. Noah Sewell is getting, kind of targeted out there on the field, especially with Detroit, how they did him in with that Gibbs play. But at the end of the day, I'm loving to see his progress and seeing that we have a staff that actually has faith in him. Ben Johnson just talked about him the other day, saying that, he had faith in Noah Sewell, and Noah Sewell is looking like he's turned out to be exactly what he's bred to be. What his family, what is in his blood. You know, that Panay, that soul. You know, that they're looking like warriors truly out there on the field, executing his tackles. He's making sure he's always there inside the hole. He's making sure that he's on his assignment. If it's A gap, B gap, C gap, he's there filling in. Like, he looks good out there on the film, and I'm really interested to see exactly what we do long term with him. And I'm happy to see him on the field once again. I'm sorry, just really had to stress that I'm a huge Noah Sewell fan, big time. And the refs, come on, the refs. What is up with the NFL? Look, man, I know you guys want to have a certain game and stuff like that, and I guess you don't want the Bears to win or something like that, but come on, man. All these penalties that weren't penalties, the holdings that weren't holdings, the missed defensive pass interference. There was so much out there. Ignored peanut punch fumble. The peanut punch fumble. That's going to go down that they have to go back and look at that at the end of the year and say, you know what, that was a fumble. My bad. That was clearly a fumble. The guy got off the ground and he punches the ball before he has any contact with any Bear. He punches just the ball. Then he's considered tackled if he hits the ground again, in which he did. But that's neither here nor there. I just couldn't understand exactly what that was about. It just didn't make any sense to me whatsoever. You know, and when you're thinking about a lot of things, you got to take it into perspective, right? Looking at the perspective overall, Caleb is adapting to the situations. He's had those 3 head coaches. He had 3 OCs. He's buying into the game plan overall, but, you know, forcing those Superman plays isn't necessarily working out for him how he needs to. But he has huge signs of growth, and I know you all see it out there. And if you're still here for this point of the video, definitely make sure you let me know in the comments below by sharing a like, subscribe, or just share your comments below about how you feel about what I'm saying. The signs of growth are great. To see those signs of growth is all I want to see at the end of the day. And as him being a rookie quarterback to me, because of how chaotic that first year was, and he still broke records and stuff like that for the Bears, I have no issues keeping the proper perspective. You know, you got other quarterbacks, Burrow, Tua, struggled in week 1. Caleb did great. He worked harder. He did more. And he gets harsher criticism than those guys. Those guys have been here forever and a half. They're talked about in such a clean light, it's ridiculous. Why do we have to be so harsh on the young ones? But we got to look at the older guys. Now, like any Chicago person, I'm very happy to have Chicago Bears in the news, okay? I'm very happy that they're talking about the Bears on ESPN and stuff. I want them to continue to keep talking about my Bears and stuff. But if you got to talk about the Bears and just bash them in a certain stance and then all you do is talk about the young quarterback, come on now. Let's make sure we turn the status quo how we need to. Look at these players that aren't necessarily showing up getting paid all this money. That line that we just paid. And I don't want to necessarily call them out, but I have to. Just because of how the first 2 games went, but it's only been 2 games. Montez Sweat, you've also been an issue right now, and that's one thing that we got to make sure that we take care of. We got to make sure that we utilize better. We got to make sure that we're more, aware. We got to be more aware of what Montez Sweat has to give to us and what we're getting from him, you know, just like any other player. Because guess what? We just paid Jalen Johnson. And now he's basically on vacation, not going to be here. Like, this sucks. And then it could be the same thing next year because he's hurt. And then he won't be there in the offseason. And then we got to hope he plays during the season. Then we got to hope he's not hurt. Sad to say, Jalen Johnson can mess around and turn out like a, man, Mike Brown, but not, you know, like the later years. You know what I'm saying? Nathan Vasher. His career would add up to Nathan Vasher's career. And that's just me throwing a Bears player out there, you know. So, damn. It's crazy to even think that. I'm just kidding, by the way. But yeah, it's just, we definitely got to do more when it comes down to our secondary. Big time. It's all a part of the growing pain, so that's definitely something we got to make sure that we understand as Bears fans. This is just how it is. First year under a new regime, truly new regime, and, you know, hey, we got the head coach and the GM tied together, so they should both be on the same sync and they should both be getting the same things. So it's not Ryan Poles getting players that Matt Eberflus likes just because of their archetype. Because don't forget, Matt Eberflus likes players because of their archetype. He traded and got Edmonds because of his archetype, just because he was big and stuff like that, his size. Stop playing. No one cares. We got to get players because of what they actually do and their efficiency and what they're actually able to do. Previewing week 3 versus the Cowboys. Week 3 versus the Cowboys is going to be very interesting. We got Dak Prescott showing up. The Cowboys are definitely one of those teams. They call them America's team just because, they're in the news. You talk about them a lot and stuff like that. But now, like I said before and in previous videos, I believe America's team now, it might as well be the Chiefs, or possibly at this point, maybe the Eagles, just because of how they're winning and stuff like that. They're pushing their way, to victory. So it's basically about the team that's talked about. So when it comes down to the Cowboys, they got to show up. The Cowboys are a playoff team that does not, I repeat, that does not show up when they need to. Sad to say, during the regular season, they show up. So we might have a little bit of a game on our hands. But given his Matt Eberflus and how he was just doing these past 3 games with the Cowboys, I'm not worried about too much, and I hope that Ben Johnson isn't worried about too much either when it comes down to that matchup. It does matter. The Cowboys' defense is hyped, but statistically, the Bears, they're performing better right now. So that's definitely the biggest thing right now we need to make sure we pay attention to. The Cowboys' offense has been shaky. Dak, a little inconsistent on the run game. Not really dominant at all, but you know what? Even with Dak's inconsistency, he's still been playing like one of the best quarterbacks out there. He still looks like one of the best Cowboy quarterbacks out there at this point, just from how he's playing. He looks like I guess, for lack of a better term, he's playing up to what he's being paid. He's $60 million quarterback. So at the end of the day, you need to get into playoffs if you're a $60 million quarterback, period, point blank. So that's what it is, period. So that's what Dak is doing at this point. And some of the biggest keys to this game would be the discipline overall. You got to eliminate the penalties. Can't spoil the 1,100+ free yards. We can't. We can't just give them that. Spot them. Sorry, we can't spot them 100+ yards like we did in other games with penalties and stuff like that. We really can't. We really can't spot them any yards whatsoever. They're high-powered offense. You got CeeDee Lamb out there, still being CeeDee Lamb. So even though he's dropping the ball a couple times, but he is going against this Bears defense. And speaking of the Bears defense, real quick to go back on that, reiterate on 1 second on that. Hey, Detroit, you should not be that happy about what you did, because that is the Bears defense, a defense that wasn't actually showing up, a defense that was actually doing well against this offense, and this offense isn't doing well. So if you put both of those together, you can't be too happy about this. So I'm really looking forward to seeing all these teams' games this week. This week 3 is going to be real nice to see all these matchups. We're going against better matchups. We had different teams, and guess what? Even JJ McCarthy has shown that he's not necessarily, their future as a Vikings quarterback either. But getting back to the Cowboys game, the O-line push. The O-line definitely has to push. We have to win in the trenches. We have to at least stop looking so bad, okay? At the end of the day, we have to stop losing so bad at the end of the day with these blockers. Caleb just needs time. Give him a little bit of time, and that'll work out. That's really all I'm looking for. We need better run game. Swift, rookie run. They all need more touches. We need to see more out of the running game itself. We need to see if we have a running game, because if you have a running game, you can then follow up with blocks, and then you can hit the right holes at that point. Sad to say, it doesn't look like DeAndre Swift has his game vision on. He has blockers on. He needs to take the blockers off so he can see everything and, upgrade his vision. I still got faith in Swift to a certain extent, but realistically, I don't mess with Swift because of how badly he has played being on this team so far, based on just his resume itself. You're expecting him to do a lot more, especially given he's a veteran of that many years that he's been here, basically. And the play calling, no more predictable screens on first down, please. Use Caleb's mobility, shotgun, and rollout options. Like I said before, we definitely need to make sure that we're using a lot more than what we've seen. It looked like the plays were going nowhere after a while in that game. I was like, what is this play calling? Why does it look like we're just going up the field all scared? And then After the first half, we came back, and that's how we played 3-and-out. And like, what are we doing here? Come on now, coach. You got to be more aggressive, and you got to do what you need to. There's no way that we should have came back from that second half being that flat on offense, but we'll see how it goes. It makes me feel like they need to still do push-ups or something like that inside of the back there. But anyway, and the defense, pressure Dak. We need pressure on Dak Prescott, period, point blank. If we can get pressure on here, we can force mistakes. Secondary must step up. I don't care who's out there at this point. Somebody got to step up. Somebody does, especially since Johnson is not going to be there. Kyler Gordon is hurt. And, we're just having issues out here. Nashawn Wright has already been ruled out for the season. So, yeah, there's just a lot of issues with the Chicago Bears right now, and it's sad to say we can't do too much more about it, but try to. And so the bigger picture for me personally, when it comes down to this game, the Bears aren't as far off as the media makes it seem. They really aren't. Execution, discipline, flip the game fast. Simple as that. Just execution and discipline. It's just that simple. We've shown that we have a team. We were still in there. We were still in there fighting and competing. Still in there fighting and competing. If defense didn't look so atrocious, we were still in there, and it was a great game too. It was like if you look at the man. Anyway, just we were still fighting and competing. You're like big time. We need to make sure that we have that discipline. And Caleb is still battling adversity big time. You need to make sure that we understand he's still a rookie. 3 different coaches in 2 years, man. 3 different coaches in 2 years. 3 different OCs in 2 years. Give him some time. Chicago media world, give Caleb Williams some time. If we can get some time, guess what? You'll see some magic out of this man. You'll see some magic. Give him the time that you gave Trevor Lawrence without coming at him. Trevor Lawrence done got a whole nother check and everything and did nothing. So that's definitely something that we all got to think about at the end of the day, that if we keep all of these things into, the proper light, then we're good. The Cowboys are definitely beatable if the Bears play their game, not the Cowboys game. Not scared, a scripted one. Sad to say we need to go more scripted because it looks like we can do that more, and then we can develop around that. So that's the breakdown. Cowboys versus Bears coming up in week 3. We need execution, y'all. Discipline and smarter game plan. Seriously. Y'all let me know if you agree or not down in the comments below. Caleb showed growth. But at the end of the day, I will say the staff has to meet him halfway. When it comes down to DJ Moore and everyone else on the field, we got to meet them halfway. Got to make sure that we're executing and we're exactly where we need to be within those plays. Because you can see Caleb wants to get it out of his hands on time. He's not doing like last year with an incompetent coaching staff trying to figure out the game. He's actually doing it on time. So he wants to make sure that he does what he can. And you just make sure you drop your comments below. Are the Bears close to turning this thing around? Or are they still miles away? Y'all let me know. Or is this a bigger issue here? Would you say that Caleb is still the issue? Or is it his fingernails? A lot of times people don't know which is which. Don't forget to hit that like button and follow Mind on Murdoch for more Mind on Bears news. It's been that one and only show. Unfiltered Bear Talk. Until next time, y'all. I need to make sure I take care of my face.